Okay, so we're going to draw the human nose. I'm going to try and show you a step-by-step guide just so that you get started and you get an understanding of how to get it to look realistic. This is just a guide because what you'll find is everybody has a different shaped nose, and depending on the angle of the face and everything depends on how the nose is drawn. But this is just a wee simple guide. This is simple basic techniques to get you started, and you can practice and eventually develop your understanding and drawing of a portrait. So let's get started. So this is the nose that you're going to draw. So if I just like move this over to the side a little bit like this, and we'll draw it next to it. All right. So first of all, what I want you to do is I want you to draw a circle like so, and then I want you to put a little center point in the middle of the circle. Great. Now from this point I want you to take from the middle of the circle to the edge of the circle, take a midpoint, so just put it right in between the middle of them, and the same on this side. So from the middle of the circle to the edge, take a little midpoint and mark it. And then I want you to draw a line, just a guideline, so keep it quite light, down the way. Great. And again, from the bottom of the circle, I want you just to take a line and draw it through. So this is just guidelines, so keep them quite light. From the centre, I want you to draw a line right through. Great. And then from the centre up the way and down the way, I want you just to take a line gently and draw it through. Okay, so right now you've got a circle and lots of lines. That's great. These are your guidelines and they're going to help you build this so that it looks like a human nose. Okay, now from your midpoint, so you've got your centre point, midpoint and the edge of the circle. So from the midpoint to the edge of the circle, that dimension I want you to mirror to the other side and kick it over and then make a point. Okay, so from here to the edge of the circle, that dimension, that measurement, I want you to kick it over and make a point and have it on the other side as well. And I want you to do it on this side as well. So that dimension here, I want you to kick it over and mark it. And then once you've done that, I want you to just take a guideline down the way. Great. Now next, what I want you to do, we want to find where the nose is going to come down to. So down to this point here. So from the center point of the circle to the bottom of the circle, that dimension, I want you to mirror down and kick it down to here and mark it. So this measurement here should roughly be the same as this measurement here. Okay? Great. Now the next thing I want you to do is from the bottom of the circle to this point that you've just put in, take a midpoint and mark it. And then from that midpoint, I want you to take a line as straight as you can on the horizontal all the way over. Now what this line is marking is where you see these creases of the nose. This is the point that they come down to. Alright? And the top, the actual bottom of the circle above, this is where the top of the nostrils come to. So all these guidelines are building up to something. The next thing I want you to do is from the center point of the circle to the top, I want you to take a midpoint and mark it. And then I want you to take a horizontal line straight through, as straight as you can, ever so lightly. Great. Now between this line that you have just drawn here and this bottom line here, this is where your curve is going to be. So this curve, either side of the nose, this is going to be between those lines. Okay? So to find out how far out the curve goes, so how far out you're going to curve to. I want you to take this dimension from the edge of the circle to this point, take that dimension and mirror it over and mark it. And again, this dimension, mirror it over and mark it. And it's just a tiny little light guideline. Now what you're going to do is you're going to do a semicircle. So it's going to be like, it's like a curve all the way around here, between this line, and your curve is going to come just past, see this little guideline you've got here? Your curve's just going to come past that just a little bit. So I want you to do a curve, like so. See, so the bottom and the top are even. And the same on this side. Like so. Super. If you've gotten this far, you're doing really well. Now I'm going to put in the nostrils, and I'm going to show you how to do this. So this is the very bottom of the nose, which is here, okay? And where your nostril starts is this point here. So see where these two lines cross? That's where your nostril is going to start. And your nostril is going to come round and down. Now, it kind of just tapers from this line here. So these two guidelines that you have in here, your nostril is going to come round and down, and then it's just going to kind of stop roughly there, all right? So between this point and this point is roughly where the nostril is going to come scooping down. So what I want you to do is just curve it slightly, and then curve it round to this point. And then the same on this side. Super. So what you have now is a few curves and a circle. Great. Now that you've got these things in place, what we're going to do is we're going to take a blending tool, which is this. This is my blending tool. But if you don't have a blending tool, just use a traditional cotton bud. And you're going to go around all the lines that you've marked in, and you're going to just blend them and smudge them a little bit. So I'm just going to clean my blending tool a little bit, because you want to make sure that it's clean when you first start, or all you're going to do is any lead that's on your blending tool is going to transfer onto your paper, and your shading is going to be more than what you want. So I clean my blending tool, and I'm going to go around all the lines and curves that I have drawn and just soften them with the blending tool. Don't be too rough, just give it a good gentle rub and blend those lines. Now this is where it gets tricky, because you're going to start adding in your tone, and it's really the tone that makes the nose look real. Now I'm just going to go over the circle. And you'll see what that's done. It's just softened all the areas that we've drawn. Now you can go over your guidelines, but you might want to keep those in just now. They will get lost eventually when you're adding in all your tone anyway. Okay, so what I want to do now is just take you step by step, just adding in some tone and building it up so that it eventually looks quite realistic. So your deepest points are, see this curve here? Halfway up and round is really quite deep, so you want to just emphasize that and draw it in a little bit darker. Don't press hard, but just keep going over it so that you're building up the lead. And the same on the other side, so halfway up and round. And again, don't press hard, because you're just going to indent the paper. Just keep building the lead up. And then you can guess what we're going to do next. We're going to blend. So just smudge that and blend it, and it'll soften it. Don't worry about the lead falling over or anything, because this area of the nose is all dark anyway, so just the lead. You can even just run your buffer over like this and just have this whole bottom part of the nose in shadow, because it is in shadow. This is not a light area of the nose. Okay, so where the nostril lines are, you don't want to lose them, so I want you to just take your pencil and re-emphasize those again, like that. And again, don't press too hard, you're adding the lead gently by just going over and over and over it. So just over and over and over. And then you want to underneath just shade it, because this whole area is really quite dark. And then again, I want you to just take your tool and blend, or your cotton bud, whatever it is you're using, and just blend that. And the natural gradient of the lead is great, because it just shows how the shadows work. Great. Now again, I want you just to see where the nostrils curving, to maybe the extent of, if you look at the bottom of these curves, go across the way, just carry it across to about there. The bottom of the curve across to about there. I want you to take this area and just really darken it out and shade it in, okay? Again, don't press hard. The lead will go on, just be gentle but fill it in. Great. Now we're going to add some of the shadows on the bottom part. So where the circle's still there, you've got that good guide, you want to keep that. So from the edge of the circle and into this area here and up, I want you just to shade that whole area. So there, to the extent of the circle, down into here, and there to the extent of the circle. Just shade it, because that is in shadow. And then you've guessed it, you're gonna just blend that part again. Great. Good. Now, this little shadow here, you do have a little shadow here, because the nose is a funny shape. So you have this little shadow here, so just like add the lead just a little bit up here, not too much. And then where the curve's coming round and it meets the circle, I want you just to shade that gap, like so. And then here, just shade in that gap, so that these areas are joined. And then blend. And don't be scared to blend it all the way into this area, because this is darker. This is your brightest point, so just let that lead blend over. Great. Now, where this bit is here, from the top of your nostril and up, this area is quite shaded, so I want you just to add a little bit of shading in, like so. Make sure you don't lose your nostril there. Just add a little bit of shading there. So from the top of the nostril up to about here, just shade that whole bit, because it is in more shadow. And then just blend it gently. Once you get more lead on, you don't need to blend too hard. It'll do it itself. Now again, I want you just to emphasize this circle, so you're just building this up again, so you're just darkening that area and darken this area, because this is quite a deep crease. Great. Good. Now where you have your bridge area here, there's usually a shadow underneath it, and it's usually quite dark because, but not too dark. You don't have a deep crease like this. It's just a shadow. So just shade it in a little bit and bring it up to the extent of this, so it's kind of curving up to here. Okay, and it's just a shadow, and again curving up to there, and gently shade it because it is just a gentle shadow, but it is there. And then just want to blend that in. Great, well done. Look how good that's looking. Now you have your two lines here, you can just see them gently. So you've got your centered point and your two midpoints here with the two lines. I want you to just draw a line up gently, just ever so lightly up on those 2 points. Now what this is going to be is, this is kind of like the bridge of the nose, and this is the area that is the lightest. So what we're going to do is from this line to the extent of this, so either side, I want you just to take a gentle line up. Sorry, you can't see that there. So up there, and we're going to take a shading. So we're going to shade a fringe from this point out. Don't need to go right to this extent because it's going to grade over. So just draw a nice wispy fringe all the way down, and the same on this side. You don't need to press too hard, and then you're gonna blend it. So blend it down, and then blend it in the direction that the nose is going to be swooping down. And don't be scared to go over the lines because it does grade. It's not like it totally cuts off light, so then you just smoothen those lines and let it grade. And then again on this area here, just rub your blending tool over, and you'll see it begins to look quite realistic. You tend to lose your lines and your tones build up and they take over, and it's great. Okay, so there's this little bit here. I want you just to, where the circles meeting this curve here, I want you just to emphasize that little crease there and just darken it a little bit, and again here, because that is a deeper point of the nose. It kind of scoops in, and then blend it. Okay, and then on the outer side, so where you've got your curve here, like that, on the outer side, I want you just to put a deeper fringe, kind of the halfway point, so halfway, then a deeper fringe here, kind of halfway point, and I want you just to blend it following the curve, like so. And again, just add a little bit of tone here. In this area. And then blend it. And don't be scared to let it carry up. That'll just soften it. There you are. Looking great. Now, I usually use a mono pen eraser, or I use putty rubber, but I don't have it with me today, so we're just going to use a normal eraser, and we're just going to put some highlights just in the center area here. and then up here, because that is the part of the nose that catches the light. So just remove some of the lead, just dab it, and that'll give you, and then all the way up the centre, and that'll give you your highlights. And there you have it, your human nose. Now, this is just a basic step-by-step guide just to get you started, but as you keep going and continue, you'll find different ways of achieving the same thing. Just remember that your tones and the addition of the tones is what really brings it to look like a three-dimensional object. Alright, so thanks for watching. The next tutorial will be how to draw the human mouth.